how many hours are there in a day? How many
Mm-hmm.
hours do you spend with a customer? Where can we shave time off to sell more cars? Just like you said, that 12 car guy could now sell 16, right?
Yep.
Because they saved 30 minutes a deal, 30 minutes a deal, 30 times 12, right?
That's
So
360.
yeah, 360, right?
That's six
So you
hours.
look at that, that's what, 18 hours?
Something. Yeah, it's up there. Like it's a lot of time.
So
It's pretty much like a day's worth. At least a day's worth of work is probably being used for paperwork
yeah.
every single month for a salesman. All right. So, Haas, talk to me a little bit about, you and I were just on a call recently about this, but talk to me about, getting rid of all this. You talked about being paperless. Break that down, what that means in 2025 and beyond.
Well, I mean, paperless is paperless, man. No paper. Uh, a lot of people say that, and then but it's all smoke, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you got to scan these, upload these docs, then you can do this, then you can do that. I mean, it's just not. It's not efficient, man. I mean, when I'm out at dealerships and doing consulting for years, like I have, and still doing a little bit of that today. I mean, it's like, dude, it takes 40, 45 minutes for a salesperson to write a deal once you say yes. And it's like, there's a heartbeat to a deal,
Yep.
right? It's boom, 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 boom. And then it flatlines after a certain point. You want to make money in F&I? Hurry up with the paperwork, man. Don't have the customer sit there for 45 minutes. Because then, I mean, to make money in F&I, you got to have somebody who's willing to buy right now
Yep.
and who's willing to listen, right? People don't want to listen after they sat out there for 45 minutes waiting for paperwork to be done. And now they're going in the office to say, oh, now I'm going to have to sit in here another 45 minutes. You know, so so what I did is I developed, all these companies hate form mapping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and then go to your CRM or your DMS and ask them to map a form and see how long it takes. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee my customers, you send me any form, it'll be mapped in your system within 24 hours,
Wow.
right? Because I designed from scratch. I might be a redneck, but like I said before, I'm a high tech redneck. And so I went to my development team and I said, hey, I got this crazy idea about how we can do a forms mapping tool.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not use any third party. That's kind of my mojo, my deal, man. It's like we don't use any third parties unless we absolutely have to. But when it comes to tech, we design it all from the ground up because we control it,
Yeah.
right? And so there's certain things that I have to have integrations with that I can't, build on my own because we don't have the permission or whatever. But it's like, man, let's get this stuff turn and burn, man, with the client. And then on top of that, so look at it today, man. You're the CRM guy, you're the BDC guy, right? So, Duran, when you go to print a deal, what do you have to do?
Oh, it's a if you want to print, there's a couple of different ways. You can go through the CRM, right? You got to first make sure the sales manager's loaded his part, and then as a salesperson, make sure you've done all your part. Then you go to the CRM. If you're lucky, you might have a whole folder thing set up, but it's only what you can actually do. And then you go over to another area where you have the manual forms, and then you pull in that. So you had your CRM packet, manual forms over there, and then sometimes F&I would give you a couple other pieces that you might need to fill
Right.
out, like an odometer statement or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, so like with our system, dude, it's every form. It
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
matter,
wild.
and the system's intelligent, right? If I'm selling a used car, it knows what the warranty is on that used car. It knows what everything needs to be on there. The salesperson grabs an iPad and he's just like, okay, boom, he logs in. Hey, there's my customer. Boom. Okay, here's all the forms. And then, if there's optional forms that maybe you're doing a special promotion or something like that, and we have that programmed in there, you can select that one too. But it's going to preview and show you, hey, here's all the forms that are getting ready to get printed. and then here's the other ones that you can print as well, and then but it's not print, right? I say print because we're so used to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's generate, right? Now we're generating forms instead of printing forms. And so you generate, it generates every form on the fly, and then you just hand that to the customer, lay it on the desk, whatever, sit and disclose, and bam, 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 customer just signs. And there you go, man. And you just shaved 30 minutes off a deal.
I would say on the light end, right? I mean, I think listening to you say that, I think it could be so much more than probably 30 minutes if it really got dialed in. And I was writing down notes. What I was thinking about, Haas, hearing you speak is I'm thinking about that 8 or 10 car guy or lady, or maybe that person is selling 12. And I bet when they're listening to this, or they probably had this thought in their mind that if they could get the process down quicker, like where the paperwork, the F&I, all that stuff was quicker, they could go from selling 8, 10, or 12 to probably 15, 18, 20 just from the time. But it's not just time. What I wrote down was energy as well. Like when you think about the
Yeah.
energy that goes into it, like going back forth, print this off, and then don't let something be wrong, right? If you're one of those stores that really doesn't have much that's loaded in, there's dealerships that are probably still handwriting on their forms right now to make things
Oh, I'm
work.
sure of it. But see, that's the thing, man. That's where, like, so I look at it like this, man, and I've never really thought about it. It just spurred in my mind as we were talking. But we're like the ultimate delivery system,
Yep,
right? Like as soon as the
I
customer
like that.
says yes, we take it from there all the way through the F&I office.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the ultimate delivery system to where you can turn and burn your paperwork really fast. You can have the customer have a good experience. The system's smart. It's going to tell the manager. See, when you come back to the desk and you say, "Hey, man, everything's done," the manager says, "Great." Pushes it from the CRM to the DMS, makes sure all the information's there, then push it straight to our system. If there's something missing, right, it's going to tell you, "Hey, there's something missing," right? And so, or let's say that, oh man, I mistyped something. Well, that's cool. All you got to do is go in and edit it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And update the form and have it re-signed or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But it's about that speed, man. Speed, 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 man. You want to sell more cars, speed up your deals, right? I mean, it's kind of like when I did consulting for years on used cars, it was like I always looked at your parking lot as like your shelf space.
Yep.
You remember that, don't you?
Oh yeah.
And I take all these overhead photos of these Google Earth images. I would draw all the parking spots, and I would say, okay, this is how many cars you can stock. Okay, so if you can stock this many cars, how many are you going to sell? Right? And so if you want to sell X, but you only have X amount of parking spots, well, now I have to. Well, do I need to turn my inventory 18 times a year, 20 times a year? How do I need to fast my turn? Now we're having a business meeting, right? Just like we talked about last time versus a
Mm-hmm.
conversation. Well, I'd like to sell this many. How many dealers do we have that say, well, I'd like to sell 200 cars? Okay. Well, you only got to use a parking lot that'll hold 50 used cars. So how are you going to sell? You got all this new car inventory, but your used car inventory, you can only hold 50 units. Well, if you want to sell 150, what do you have to do? You got to turn and burn that stuff, man, and you got to figure out a process, which is what I've been good at over the years. But it's like figure out that process of how we can turn and burn. Well, it's the same with selling. Well, how many hours are there in a day? How many
Mm-hmm.
hours do you spend with a customer? Where can we shave time off to sell more cars? Just like you said, that 12 car guy could now sell 16, right?
Yep.
Because they just saved 30 minutes a deal, 30 minutes a deal, 30 times 12, right?
That's
So
360.
yeah,
Jeez.
360, right?
That's six
So you
hours.
look at that, that's what, 18 hours?
Something. Yeah, it's up there. Like it's a lot of time.
So
It's pretty much like a day's worth. At least a day's worth of work is probably being used for paperwork
yeah,
every single month for a salesperson. I never thought of it that way.
absolutely, man. We do some stuff with payroll for accounting, and calculating pay plans for people and for sales. And every accounting office I've talked to said, Hoss, you just saved me 4 to 5 days a month of work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And they're like, literally, we spend 4 to 5 days. If you collectively add it all up on what we do for payroll,
Mm-hmm.
we spend 4 to 5 days a month, right? That's 40 hours of savings that they can be doing something else. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Uh, so processing more deals, right? You're selling more cars, processing more deals, right? Free everybody up. It's all about efficiency, man. And the sad thing is when you go paperless, accounting sometimes says, "Oh, well, I need all this stuff printed." Why? We're paperless, right? So you're still printing because accounting says, "Hey, I need it printed." Which is no big deal. It's one button. You say select all, and then boom, hit print, and right, and it prints. No big deal. But it's like it's trying to get the dealership staff, to that place to where they can wrap their head around paperless. And so we're excited to announce that, and you'll we got some big stuff that we're in the middle of right now, which I won't talk about, but I can tell you. Uh, Well, I'll tell you this, man. The stuff that I'm working on is a finance director in a box.
There we go.
Seriously. I mean, when I say a finance director in a box, I mean a finance director in a box. Uh, and what we're working on right now, man, and the stuff that we're doing is bad to the bone, man. And I've talked to some dealers about it that are some of our early adopters and early stores, and they're super excited, and they're like, man, when's that going to be done, bro? When's that going to be done? Because here's the deal, man. I mean, and think about this, Duran. This whole paperless thing and all that, there's no charge for that.
That's wild.
I know, and for you other tech companies out there, you're like, man, y'all's leaving money on the table. But at the end of the day, man, it's about taking care of people. We get paid to innovate in software.
That's
It's
right.
not about you know charging money for absolutely everything. So, um, we have two versions. A light version and then a premier version. And so, I mean, and those are the only two different charges that we charge for. And so it's like, you want this functionality because this is the type of store you are, then this is what you pay. You want this functionality because you want all the greatest, latest technology and to speed things up and this and that, then this is what you pay. It's no big, it's one or the other. It's not a big deal, man. I mean, it shouldn't be crazy, man.
No, not at all. And I'm still stuck on what you said probably about 7 minutes ago, the ultimate delivery system. And it just I was just like, man, that is such a great name, and it sums up so much what you're saying. Because what I think of, Haas, I always think about the greats. Now, I'm not saying that these companies are great, but I'm thinking about how great they are in terms of size, large. And you think about Apple, you think about Amazon. And I was thinking about when you were saying the ultimate delivery experience or the ultimate delivery system. And I was thinking Amazon knocked that out the park. If you really think about it, that's what brought us back to Amazon. It wasn't the price. It was about, because right now you and me can get on there and you can
Dude,
say,
I
hey,
can I
Duran.
can order something on Amazon right now, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll be here either today, right, or
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Oh,
Uh, but sometimes the same day. I mean, it's crazy.
right here on this thing, right? But here's what's even better. Say, say like, so you know, from consulting, you'll know what this like when I'm doing this road warrioring. But let's say I go down to Atlanta or I go some other place and I really need something. Maybe it's not Amazon, maybe it's a Uber Eats or one of them. Again, Uber Eats, they figured it out because not only they made it so simple that they'll do current location, as you know, if you share that, and then boom, you adjust it, tell them where it's at. But they did the whole thing because they knew if they make the delivery experience easy for them to check out, you'll come back and you're going to do it again. And so I was thinking about store wise, the ones that implement this, that's what's going to happen is they're going to figure out the delivery system so well that people will start talking about it because people remember two parts of the experience: that beginning and then that closing. How did it go when we negotiated and we got to the paperwork and then the delivery of the vehicle? But one, look at the large companies, and this is why it makes sense. And then my second point that I wrote down that I was thinking of that goes along with this is how a dealership can market this. And that kind of gets into my wheelhouse with CRM and social media and video. Holy smokes, Hoss. Like, you think about what a dealership can say. They could actually record a customer with their tablet or their phone, checking out, doing it without the paperwork. And then I could see the dealer just walking in. It's like the whole spot is coming out of my head. Dealer walking in. You can't stand just signing. I can see dealerships having fun with it, like a Kia point, doing a cool TikTok around it. And then the third point that I thought of, the most obvious one that I know dealers are probably thinking of when they're hearing you speak, and I'm thinking of it as an ex-GSM guy, but the money tied to the cost of paper. If anybody's looked at a financial statement of the accounting and they got that office, the supplies line item, dude, I don't know if you've done that calculation, Haas, but man, the amount of paperwork that dealerships go through just in paper alone and buying that, whether they're buying these forms, because some of these companies are popping them on the forms that they're buying. What I mean? It's not like the paper you get at Costco. But those are just 3 points that I thought. I was like, dude, this is just like the Amazons and the greats. The second thing that it's doing is this is easy marketing for the dealer. And then the third thing is you're talking about savings on the dollar with paper. To me, it sounds like a complete no-brainer. Now, if a store, so let's say a store wants to implement this, how does that process work out? Do they reach out to you and then you
Oh
kind of
yeah,
find
man. I
out
mean,
the
it's
CRM, the DMS, or what's most important that you need to know?
yeah. I mean, who their CRM, who their DMS is. I
Okay.
mean, and I don't know. Let me see here, Duran. I'm going to try to. I'm going to. Let me see here. I'm going to open up something I want to show you.
Okay.
Let's see here. So let me show you this. I'm going to zoom in my screen a little bit so you can see it a little better. So you mind if I share my screen real quick, Duran?
Dude, you know how to do it on here?
Yeah, man. You just hit share.
Oh, well, click that button then.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, I see it at the top. Okay. Because I was like,
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
where
yeah,
is the
man.
share screen on this? It's a little bit of a different
All
software,
right.
y'all. There we go. All right,
So check this out, man. All right. So you see this?
let me put you right here on the screen.
All right, man. So this is our smart desk, dude, and this is in F&I where all the paperwork's done, your presentation's done, everything's signed, everything's done. The customer walks in, they see the logo, congratulations. It is the ultimate high-tech workstation, man, and it speeds the process up.
Wow. It looks clean too. When you look at how that looks, like how clean that is. Let me bring you
Yeah,
back over
okay,
here.
I stopped sharing now, so there
No,
we go.
all good. All good.
All right, so, but I just wanted to show that, man. It's clean, it's simple, it's easy. Trying to figure out uh, how to really help the experience of the clients. Not just our client, right? It's dealers, but at the dealer's client. How that customer experiences that process. And
Cleanliness.
yeah, we find about 30% of people actually take pictures when they walk in the F&I office because they see their name there and congratulations and all that stuff, right? They think it's that big of a deal, right, that they see that.
Man, do you think, I mean, are there other areas of the store, like just dealership as a whole, that you see could be next after this? Like, do you plan on
Oh, I already
tackling
have plans,
like
man.
fixed ops and them
I'm
being touchless?
already, I'm already on top of all that stuff, bro.
Because you got my wheels spinning. I'm just thinking about like, I think it just
Well, and
builds
actually, I
because,
have about 60% of that already done. So obviously, it's time and money,
yeah.
right? And with enough time and enough money, you can do anything. Obviously, these type of ventures take a lot of cash,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not something that I'm just a car guy, man, trying to make a difference, brother. So it's, trying to, get things moving and get things in that direction. But I mean, it's coming a long way, dude. And, I love solving problems for dealers. I mean,
Yeah.
to see the look on a dealer's face when they see what we do and they're like, wow, dude, you can tell whoever built this, man, did this for a living.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, man, and excuse me, to me, that's where the satisfaction comes in, is solving those problems.
Yeah. You're right. And now I want to play. Because I always do this when I'm talking to a dealer, and I'll go through. Here's some reasons why my solutions might not work. Like I'll talk about
Well,
leadership,
mine aren't for
implementation, and
everybody.
accountability. What's that?
Mine aren't for everybody. I can tell you
Yeah.
that right now.
Well, that's what I was
In
going to
fact, I'm
ask you. Is
picky about
like
who I
if
even sign up now. I
well,
interview a dealer
mm-hmm,
and see if they're a good fit or not. And if I don't think they're a good fit, then I'm
there,
out.
that
Uh,
answers my question
and,
because I
and I
was like,
and I
how do
don't and
you?
I don't mean to be rude about it, but it's just I've been down this road and been doing this too long, and I've
Yeah,
had dealers sign up, and then nobody wants to hold people accountable to use the stuff,
there
and
you
then they
go.
want to blame me, and it's like, bro, I can't force usage, right? That's your own internal deal. Uh,
Yeah.
but some of the tools that we've seen work really well is tie it to their pay plan. You tie something to somebody's pay, man. Pay plan drives behavior. I can tell you that right now. Uh, you want menu usage? You say great. You only use it 80% of the time. You only get 80% of your pay. Uh,
Man. Could you imagine if CRMs opted that if they worked that way? Can you imagine if the dealership was just like, all right, here's what we're gonna do, guys. Moving forward, your paycheck is determined by your CRM utilization. So if
yeah.
you spend less than, let's say the dealer put in like a 40% clause or 25%, like you spend less than 25% of the day in the CRM, and I guess you could have to go a little bit further because salespeople were the most creative. So if we find out
Oh yeah.
25%, we'll log in that CRM and walk off. So, but you're right. If there's a way that gets the buy-in, because at the end of the day, it's not about they doing it because of the pay plan, but we know that comp is what drives the behaviors. Like at the end of the day, we can raw. You can have a Haas come to the showroom. You can have myself come up there. I mean, we'll fire the teams up, but at the end of the day, the truth of a store is when that consultant, that coach, that trainer is gone, right? And I'm seeing now, Haas. Now that you bring that up, I was having a call with the dealer group, and I'm seeing more CTOs come into dealership groups, but not in a CTO way of development. A CTO is more of a chief technology implementation. So it's almost like a CTI, like an implementation specialist, because dealers will have the CRM, you got your DMS, you got your AIs, you've got all these solutions coming in, and the stores are going to have, like, especially groups will start having to have somebody that's kind of like that champion of the technology and just teaching their team all the time and holding them accountable to the innovations. And I think currently it would probably be one of the best roles for stores that are like, trying to get innovative and they don't have maybe the kind of personnel that really buys into change. Hire that coach, that CTO or CTI, and I think that's going to be something in the future we'll see evolve as I think F&I manager roles change, sales manager roles change, BDC changes. We're going to see more people come into the technology space, big time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. It's coming, right? It's whether or not guys want to embrace it.
Yeah.
And we find that I mean, there's a lot of guys who do want to embrace it, right? There's a lot of progressive dealer groups out there who want to who want to do that stuff. And but then there's also those that are still stuck in that old school way. Um, because they feel that being old school and not being transparent and so on and so forth, that they make more money. I can tell you for a fact that all the years I did consulting, all I did is teach transparency.
Yeah.
And that transparency, we made more money being transparent than we did by not being transparent. And
Always.
so it's all in how you do it, man. And so tech, technology and transparency is the key in today's car business.
Yeah, and I'd say that's internal and external, right? Because like sometimes I'll
Absolutely.
hear dealers we're focusing so much on that customer experience with technology, and it's kind of like with video. When I teach stories about the power of video to send to customers, I'm like, dude, but you know what? What's really cool is if you will take yourself as a leader and record a video to send to your sales team and just tell them you thank them, you appreciate them. It kind of
Yeah,
creates that culture of like, dang man, he not only sent me a message, but he sent me a video message, and it's going to make that person want to do it with the customer. And I think it's the same thing with what you're sharing here. It's like that technology, you need to have the right technology to manage your teams and to make it easier on your team. And when you talk about comp and what it did for your office managers that are using your, you know what I mean? Like that's part of the experience that dealerships have to pay attention to, not just external, but definitely internal with the employees.
absolutely, man. Well, no, dude, I just was excited to come on and kind of tell you about that. And, I was excited. I'm super pumped about this whole paperless thing. I think it's going to be the next level of what, what's out there. And it's simple, easy to use. And it's, I have a term I use all the time. So y'all car guys don't get offended, but I made this stuff so easy. It's so easy a car guy can do it. Because
I like that.
uh, we're not the
Yeah,
most technologically savvy people out there, right? But if you make it to where it's intuitive and it's easy to use and a great user experience and interface, then it makes it simple, man. So, avoid the frustration.
absolutely, man. And no, you're right. I mean, that's not just car guy talk. I think that's any talk. Any successfully run business is one that breaks it down to where something's simple, easily to repeat, and easily to manage. You know, if you can
Yeah,
create that, that's. I mean, if that equates to car guy stuff, and that does sound like that's what we're all about, because you make us 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks, you lose us. You know, like we got to move with speed. And so I think as leaders hear this, they'll want to lean in. And so I'm excited. I thank you, Haas, for sharing this on our platform together. But I think this is just the beginning of so much more to come. And when this guy is running the auto industry and blowed up, I hope people come back to this podcast show right here and be like, I remember what he was on here talking about.
yeah,
Going
absolutely, man.
paperless, it's
Uh,
exciting to be a part of the journey versus a lot of times you'll see these interviews when people are on the other side, right? They've made it, they've got the billions or whatever they've done. I think it's really cool that we got to pause while you and I are both in our journeys of growth and innovation, that we'll be able to circle back around and have more of these conversations to just, I think we do it as almost like an update on
yeah,
what's going on in terms of innovations, what's building, what you're seeing, what I'm seeing. So we'll keep the party going. But until that time, if somebody wants to get a demo and they want to kind of ask you some questions or go through just a conversation with you, what's the best way for them to do it, Haas?
they can go to automotiveinnovations.com, fill out a form there that says, get a demo. It's on every single page, no matter where you go. It's like, schedule a demo today. So you can email me, Haas at automotiveinnovations.com. That's Haas at automotiveinnovations.com. So real easy, but, we're there to help people.
Awesome. Well, you all reach out. I think it's not only will they be helping you, but I think you'll be helping your customers and employees by even looking into it. Because I already know when you talk with Haas, you're going to leave with value regardless. So be ready. I mean, he's a great forward-thinking leader, and he's been impactful in my business and in our personal lives as well here at the Cage household. So thank you, Haas. Until
Hey,
next
no
time,
problem,
man, keep
Dwayne. Thank you,
innovating,
brother.
keep rolling, and we'll
All
keep
right,
these
bro.
conversations going.
All right, brother. See you.
Appreciate you.
Gratitude. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. It's always great, and I thank you for it. So, if you could do me a big favor, fam, if you want more videos like this, please like, subscribe, comment, share this out. And hey, if you want to see something different or if you have some feedback for me, send me a message. Love to hear back from you. But until then, thank you all. Keep winning.